back to Cyburst, a podcast about science, popular culture, and entertainment. We're your hosts, Isabel
and Ella, two science communication and sci-fi nerds steering this spaceship of fun into the multiverse of science. Today's episode, wishing and wishful thinking in pop culture. So we're going to be talking about the psychology behind our hopes and dreams with a bit of a festive twist for this holiday season.
Yes, and as always, we're going to start by jumping into some recommendations. And before that, it's really important that we acknowledge that this episode is being recorded on Ngunnawal and Ngambri country. Indigenous Australians are the first scientists and artists, and we'd like to pay our respects to elders past, present, emerging, and future.
So it's time for our culture snap. Let's talk, Isabel, about some recommendations we have for our listeners today.
Yeah.
I want to recommend very, very sneakily another podcast, another Canberra-based podcast, actually, and also one that I have recently featured on. So can highly, highly recommend this podcast. It's called Conversations in the Capital. It is run by actually a mutual friend of both of ours, Henry Zhu, who was on the Solar Car team when we both started.
Indeed.
Which is like so crazy. Back in 2019. This is his Canberra-based podcast series that is all about getting to know people in Canberra, places in Canberra, the cool projects and places that are open, ongoing, and they're 20 to 30 minute episodes, kind of engaging with the community on that really personal and individual level.
Yes.
Which is really awesome. I was lucky enough to record an episode with Isaac Martin, also from Solar Car, talking about ANU solar racing, which was really awesome. But I highly recommend...
Great episode.
Thank you. I highly recommend you just pick any episode and listen to them. Henry does an awesome job interviewing people and editing the episodes.
He does. He's really good at it.
And he's just a lovely person too. And I think it's so nice to have someone else also in the Canberra podcasting space, but kind of completely different.
Oh, totally different.
Thematically to what we're doing. So if you want a bit of a change up, but you still want to keep it local, I highly recommend Conversations in the Capital.
Great. So for my one, we just wrapped up a cybernetic exhibition at my workplace. And since I can't plug that exhibition anymore, I wanted to talk about one of the installations in it. So it was a blown up version of Kate Crawford's Anatomy of an AI System, which is an anatomical map and case study of the Amazon Echo as an AI system made up of human labor, data, and planetary resources. And the reason I'm recommending it is because, first of all, it's super cool and shows how all of our technology starts with and ends with the Earth.
Super cool to have that as a reminder, right? Because I feel it's so easy to forget sometimes.
Yeah. And the second thing is because there is an interactive infographic of it online.
I am a sucker for a good infographic. And if you're telling me it's interactive, done deal.
So you can zoom in, zoom out. The more you zoom in, the more detail there is about the system.
Love.
Yeah. So if you want to check that out, just go to anatomyof.ai.
So that's anatomy of full stop AI.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's some recommendations.
Yeah, check them out, everybody.
But let's talk about wishes, Ella.
Can we take a moment, Isabel, to talk about wishes kind of in not only popular culture, so in movies and in popular culture like media, but in the popular culture that is culture and cultural narratives and ongoing stories and traditions.
What is that conversation we have? It is popular in culture, therefore it is popular culture, which means it doesn't have to be in entertainment.
But it's interesting, and I think so far all of our podcast episodes have kind of gone that route, and I think that's the route most people think about when they think of popular culture.
Right, so this is going to be a little different. We will be throwing in some like entertainment and films and things in there.
But this is kind of going to the root of popular culture and what it actually is and how deep
Yeah.
it runs, I think, too.
Yeah. So wishes run through time
Yeah. Space and time and reality and all those crazy funky things.
and are especially popular during the holiday season.
Is it December, Isabel?
It is in fact December.
Happy December, everybody.
And potentially this is being released on Christmas Day as well.
Potentially.
So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas.
And if you celebrate anything else this festive season, happy
holidays.
Happy festivities.
So that's why we're talking about it for our December episode. But what's the science behind it? And how has it wormed its way into the popular culture narratives?
Because it's so pervasive. And the more that we were thinking about wishes and wishful thinking and kind of the wishes as like a theme for this episode, the more we drew out of it and the more we realized it's kind of everywhere and also sometimes underneath different names, which we'll get into kind of further down as we go.
Yeah, it's totally embedded in our everyday lives and to various degrees depending on the person.
And the context.
So, for example, as a holiday example, we've got Christmas wish lists.
Write it on your wish list for Santa.
We got dream jars, wishing stars and wishing wells.
Love.
And one that I thought of recently, which we didn't discuss in planning this episode, was prayers.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Emma, which is part of the Shinto religion in Japan, where you write your wish on a little wooden plaque and tie it to the shrine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was called Emma. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess kind of going off prayers, also spirituality and the concept of manifest, which I think is really recently come into the cultural consciousness, the idea of like manifest reality, manifest your life.
Yep. For sure. I have a lot to say about manifesting. I'll get into it later on.
But it's really, really interesting that there are all these different ways of describing wishes or kind of like ways that wishes become agents or lenses that we view them through, but it's all kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's only when you start joining up all these dots and thinking about it, that we can see how many there are. Like even, blowing out your birthday candles, making a wish, wishing on the first star you see at night, wishing from like an eyelash falling. It's kind of like,
oh yeah, I didn't think about that one.
There's so many, and it's kind of like things that don't happen super often, but also often enough that I think we actually wish a lot and we don't realize we're doing it or think we're doing it.
Yes.
So super fun topic for us to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to start with, so holding all of that in mind, all the ways that you'd think of wishing and wishful thinking kind of in your daily lives, really kind of culturally pervasive. I wanted to talk about that there is science. There is science, and I know that's kind of like a heavy hitting word to throw around. Ooh, science. About knowing or about being told that something will have a positive impact on you and then it will happen.
Yeah.
So kind of going into the concept of manifesting, wishing coming true, all of that, prayers that are answered.
Yeah. And same with negative too.
And same with negative. I want to talk about the placebo effect.
Yeah. Here we go.
Friends of the podcast, friends of me, friends I haven't yet met. Placebo effect is one of the coolest things ever, I think, in science. A placebo is a positive reaction to kind of a substance that is chemically inactive. So we often think of this as a sugar pill. And the classic kind of example to understand placebo is if I want to test, like if we've never tested paracetamol before, and I want to test to see if paracetamol works as an effective painkiller, I get all my people to do this study and I give half of them paracetamol to see if and I get them to report any changes, and I give half of them a sugar pill or something that is inactive, i.e. it will not kill pain how we understand it to. And because both patients are taking pills, we hope to see that the people taking paracetamol have a significantly increase pain reduction to people taking sugar pills. Because
Yeah.
if they don't, then we know that the paracetamol isn't working significantly.
Yep.
And therefore we need to go back to the drawing board and kind of have a look at this, new medicine again. The really interesting thing is you can't just give one group paracetamol and one group nothing to check their pain tolerance or to see if they've had any reductions in pain, because the act of swallowing a pill is also placebo.
Yeah, like the mindset of swallowing. Yeah.
So the mindset of swallowing something being, oh, this will make me feel better, that is actually also part of the placebo effect. And this is why we have sugar pills, is because then we have both control groups, or we're trying to test for something. We need to make people believe that they're getting better, or, being told, hey, take this, it'll make you feel better. And there is so many studies done to suggest that having the sugar pill and being told this is paracetamol, it will make you feel better because you have been told that it will and you believe it to work, so it will.
Isn't the human brain crazy?
The human brain is magnificent and I love it. And I think that's so cool, and there's so much that can come out of this. And a lot of studies are, pretty much every medical study has to have placebos involved. But there are also lots and lots of studies on placebos to understand why patients respond to, chemically inert treatments. And there's been a lot of these studies that have found that positive expectations that are both conscious and unconscious are key to placebo effects being driven. So a key to positive impacts of the medicine or the non-medicine sugar pill. So even those that we don't realize are impacting us do impact us. So there's a whole bunch of psychology behind it. There's a lot we don't yet understand. And the word placebo is derived from Latin, and I'm going to butcher this, so please forgive me, my dear friends. From the Latin placere, which is to please.
I have a feeling it's probably pronounced more like placere, because usually there's not a soft sound in Latin.
Things I didn't know.
That is also probably not correct. So
no, I pay it more than my pronunciation. Thank you, Isabel. The kind of less cool thing about placebo is that there is also a nocebo. And Ella, I hope you're following along and you're saying, okay, Ella, so placebo is from the Latin of to please. What is nocebo? And this is a term derived from the Latin word nocere, which is to harm, which you're thinking, Ella, that does not sound great. No, it does not. And it describes negative or adverse reactions occurring to also a chemically inert substance. So being given a sugar pill and saying, hey, this could give you a headache. Like a side effect of this treatment is it could give you a headache.
You might experience a headache just because somebody has told you.
Yeah. Therefore, your brain might be like, oh, I'm expecting a headache. Is this a headache? Am I feeling a headache now?
Yeah, then you're second guessing yourself. Nocebo is when you have a negative reaction to something that should not give you the negative reaction, the same way placebo is a positive reaction to something that should not give you a positive reaction. Right.
Chemically.
Right. So if we bring it back to wishes, all this very interesting science, are we all just happy during the holidays because we are being conditioned to feel happy?
Well, like maybe.
Through wishes and...
But we're also happy when other people are happy, right? So if we've got one person who's happy because they've been conditioned to be happy or they're expecting to be happy, I think a lot of it's about expectations. Then we can feel that happiness, and the happiness kind of builds. Yeah. And if everyone's in a good mood, it's especially in Australia, it's summer. We're all on holidays.
True.
The weather is nice. Vitamin D is making all of our bodies happy.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of different factors.
It's a whole bunch of different factors.
But I think the wishing aspect is playing a role as well.
Yeah, hugely. And my favorite thing about placebo is that placebo can work even if you are told this is a sugar pill.
Yep.
If you are told
it's crazy,
this will reduce your pain, it's a sugar pill, but it will reduce your pain. So you've been told that it does not have any active ingredient that could possibly reduce your pain. But if you've been taking the placebo, you're kind of like believing and you're following that routine, that ritual.
Yeah.
You've got that wishing, you've got the expectation, even though you have been told it's not really going to help you, but it could.
Yeah.
You can still have really positive impacts from placebo. Unfortunately, same goes for nocebo. So you can have negative impacts even if you're told this is a sugar pill. It could give you a headache. It's not going to because it's a sugar pill, but it could. This is significantly to a lesser extent than if you're not told it's a placebo.
Yeah.
Because
I was going to say it's important for us to distinguish that if you're experiencing the placebo effect, it is like, if you're experiencing positive effects, it is nowhere near to the extent of having the actual medication.
No, if it's a good medication.
Yeah, if it's a good medication, but you can still experience slight improvement.
Yeah, which is basically what medications need to surpass to prove that they're worthwhile taking and worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly.
In the scientific field to study to become significant. I just think it's so wild that we can be told, hey, this is a sugar pill, and our brains will still do the work for us. And I think that definitely speaks to wishful thinking.
For sure.
And wish fulfillment. And it's only coming from internally.
Yeah.
Which is so wild. Like you can, if someone maybe dresses up in a lab coat and you're like, okay, this is a scientific authority, like I trust them, because we know that authority plays into a lot of behavior adjustments from people. I just think placebo is a really, really cool, almost concrete and very, very crucial to the way science operates.
Yes.
Is almost this idea of wishful thinking and wish fulfillment in the center of like medicine development, because we know that humans operate this way, so we just have to do it.
Yeah.
And include placebo trials in most new medicine trials.
Such strange beings.
How wonderful.
I wanted to mention something about the placebo effect.
Please.
Here, and that the phrase the placebo effect is actually a misnomer. It's a bit misleading.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not a single effect, but the net result of many different possible factors contributing to it. You've touched on most of them.
Okay. What have I missed?
I believe.
What else is there to this story?
Actually, I think you've covered all of them.
Oh no, I've stolen all your words.
No, that's fine. Because you mentioned it doesn't always require the belief that it will actually work. I've just got all of the jargon for what you've talked about. But maybe we save our our listeners from that.
I think, it's Christmas, it's festive. I think we can do a little bit of jargon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're down.
I'm down.
The first one is regression to the mean, which is where any treatment you take when you're... Oh, hang on. No, you didn't cover this one, actually.
Good thing we're looking at the jargon.
Yeah. So any treatment you take when your symptoms are severe is likely to be followed by a lessening of those symptoms.
Because if you take it at the worst and it's only going to get better from there.
It's only going to get better from there. So this creates an illusion that the treatment worked.
Even though it could just be your body fighting off the illness.
Yeah, exactly.
In, the way your immune system naturally works, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. That's just your immune system. Then the other two you did cover, which is reporting bias in trials.
What's that?
So because people are in a clinical trial.
Okay, they're in that environment.
Exactly. And have been told this pill will make you feel better. They're going to convince themselves that it's making them feel better.
Yeah, and something I kind of glossed over is that other influencing factors that have been studied for impacts of placebo include subtle cues from posture and facial expressions of the clinician, so of the person administering the placebo. And whether or not they establish eye contact or physical touch as they explain or give placebo. Yeah. Or, the medicine, which you may or may not, may or may not be the medicine, may or may not be the placebo.
Yeah.
So it really can come down to, even facial expressions, eye contact, physical touch of clinician in that environment.
Yes. Yeah. And the last one is people, because they're in a clinical trial, are also paying closer attention to their overall health, because they're like, doctors are visiting them.
Maybe they're
like,
self-reporting.
Exactly.
You're aware that you're taking part in a clinical trial, so you're thinking about it actively, like you're spending a lot of time on it.
And so you could apply this to wishing as well. When you make a wish and then you take every little thing that happens and are like, oh, that's a sign that my wish is coming true.
Is this confirmation bias?
It might be, Ella.
Can we talk a bit about confirmation bias? That is a jargon term. I'm so sorry, listeners. That's now 4 jargon terms in a row. Confirmation bias is when you are looking for an outcome.
Yeah.
So you see that outcome everywhere. So it could be like being told you're going to fall in love with a tall, dark stranger. And everywhere you look, there's someone who has, height or dark hair or is strange to you. And you're being like, oh, I've seen all these 3 things individually. That must mean my tall, dark stranger is coming soon. But it's just 3 very common things that you're now looking for and paying attention to.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, believe in love. Believe in love, but question everything. And or be aware of the different factors that are impacting your brain. Because there's a lot about the human brain we don't understand psychologically. Yep. And this is one of the things that we do know can and will take quite a strong effect on people.
100%.
So this has got me thinking, Isabel.
Yep.
The fact that my brain can have a sugar pill and be like, I've decided I'm not going to feel pain because I think this is a pain treatment. That feels like not something that's real. That feels like a fantasy. That feels like fiction.
Ooh.
That
is this a segue?
This is a segue. This is a red hot, juicy segue. I don't think this should be real, and I only know it's real because I've read the papers and I have trust in the system that is science to an extent. So I know that it's true, but listeners, I just want you to picture that, okay? A sugar pill that can take away your pain because you believe it. Sounds fictitious. Versus, and follow me here, the Men in Black memory eraser. I think the Men in Black memory eraser is more realistic or seems more true.
Fact is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, at first glance, honestly. And I'm going to present my case thusly.
Okay.
So, Men in Black. Keen. Men in Black, it is, a 3 or 4 part movie series about secret agents who are protecting the world from alien threats, but aliens all around us, and it's kind of these characters who wear suits and look swish and cool. And a lot of the time they see things and encounter things that regular humans don't. And sometimes this means regular humans get caught up in it and they see something that they shouldn't. And the Men in Black have a memory eraser that can take away or mess with your most recent memories. The thing with this is that we know that messing with or stopping the brain's processing of memories can alter or even erase memories. This is real. So we know that our brains can have issues processing memories. Yeah. This is, kind of most understandable in the format of a head injury. So you've been playing football, you get hit on the head.
Yeah,
maybe you struggle to remember the last 30 seconds to 90 seconds of gameplay. So you don't actually remember being hit in the head.
Oh no, concussion.
You have a sore head, so you must have been hit in the head. Your friends have all seen you go down, but your memory is wiped because you got hit as your brain was processing that memory, and your brain was like struggling to keep up with it. And then because your memory wasn't processed, it didn't go into short-term memory, and then it didn't go into long-term memory. So it hasn't, because memories are physical. So that actually is a bit of a process that happens to store the memory in your brain. We know it is real that you can lose a memory kind of pretty quickly. So I want to ask or propose and argue that how is a device that can mess with your short-term memory seen as less believable than being told, hey, this pill will give you X amount of side effects. Oh, by the way, it's sugar, and the side effects still happening. So I think logically, knowing what we do about science, I think in this instance, Men in Black is more perceivable than our actual reality.
Whoa.
This is my argument. This is my thesis. Both of those things are unlikely. I'd just like to, or seem unlikely, I'd like to say. But I think Men in Black seems more likely, and there's less to understand about the brain to understand it than the reality of placebo taking effect.
Oh my God. Huh.
How's your brain doing processing all of that?
How's my brain's memory going? Turning that information into short-term to long-term memory.
Do you believe me after this argument? Was I convincing?
I think I do, yes. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I think human brain is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it absolutely is crazy, the human brain. And I also think human brain is particularly crazy or like buzzing around this festive season, right? There's a lot going on. Let's kind of bring our chats, because this is our festive December episode. Let's bring it back to kind of more
Christmas pop culture.
Yeah, so that's just like a bit of regular film pop culture.
Yeah, so let's talk about Christmas songs.
Okay. You've convinced me. Let's go.
We all know Mariah Carey's hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You, Ella.
Oh my God, Isabel.
We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
Did you just say wish?
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy.
Deck the Halls with the 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly.
It is the season, and you will believe it's the season after listening to this song.
So these songs are on repeat throughout December, right? Some people are very keen and they start in November.
Some people start in October. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe that's a bit too early. But you do you, boo.
So try as you will to avoid them.
You're probably going to hear them.
You will probably hear them. And they are played so many times that it becomes ingrained in you. Definitely
it sure does.
And it's conditioning us to expect a magical time during the holiday season.
How bizarre that we have 1 month of the year where it's like you have to listen to these songs. Like these are the songs you don't listen to many other time.
And it's like, think positively, everybody. Your dreams are going to come true. Your wishes are going to come true. You're going to meet the one.
Look forward to this one day of the year that's better than any others.
Yes.
For why?
So I want to talk about this idea of manifesting.
Okay, I'm in. Tell me about manifesting as well.
So you've probably heard the term thrown around. I think our generation likes to use it as a bit of a joke. I certainly have.
Yeah, I think it's become so taken away from spirituality at this point that it's just kind of a word tossed around.
It's just popular culture now.
That's just culture, baby.
So you might have also heard it called mind over matter.
Ooh.
Or the law of attraction or magnetism. Even, and any American listening to this is going to hate me, but even the American dream.
Okay, that's got my attention.
Yeah. Among many others.
So there's lots of names. This is so ingrained. Can we just touch on that again? It is so a part of our culture.
Yeah, so, and I hate to break it to everybody, but it's a pseudoscience concept.
Tragedy.
That's been on the rise due to self-help movements and the rise of the wellness industry. Anyway, I should probably define it. It's basically the idea that you can make your wish or your dream come true just by thinking it and or saying it out loud multiple times.
Yeah, I tend to find that saying things out loud doesn't normally make the thing that I say out loud happen.
It's like trying to use willpower to like will something into existence.
Which is like a great concept. But if you're trying to like, you know, will dinner to appear in your hands without making it, you've either got, you know, kind of a big restaurant fee or a very, very lovely housemate.
Yeah.
But you can't make it happen just by wishing.
Yeah. So
or manifesting.
So this has come from religion in the past, from a New Thought spiritual belief that positive or negative thoughts will bring positive or negative experiences into your life. But please note, this is not supported by scientific evidence. I wish it was. I wish I could will things into existence. So most psychologists and scientists will tell you that you have to take actionable steps towards achieving your dreams.
I mean, that sounds spot on, to be honest. It's to do this thing, you have to like do the steps to do the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could consider it a helpful first step, but you need to do more than that.
Yeah. Manifesting is a great first step to achieving your dreams. Or wishes.
Yes. And so manifesting permeates pop culture, especially festive pop culture. So for instance, Wish You a Merry Christmas song is manifesting a good time. Mariah Carey's song is manifesting the one. And this is also a common theme in holiday movies.
I love a good Hallmark film. Honestly, they're formulaic. They only last for 90 minutes. You don't have to commit 3 hours of your life. Everyone is always happy in the end. It's nice. You kind of know what you're going into or in for. But I think they're centrally built around the idea of wishing.
Oh, for sure. So we talked a little bit about the movie A Christmas Wish before recording. And I found out that, because I haven't actually seen this movie, but I know that one of the characters slips in a wish that her sister will experience love for the first time.
Ooh.
Or there's films like Love Actually.
Okay, I love Love Actually.
Yeah,
Best Christmas film of all time.
Me too. I agree. It is so cheesy, but a favorite Christmas film.
Stunning.
Where the young boy is convinced that his classmate is the love of his life as well.
And he's canonically what, like 8?
Yeah.
So little.
And then, of course, seeing all of the manifestation work in fiction and in popular culture probably makes us think it'll work in real life.
Does it make us want to achieve something that's unobtainable?
That sounds about right.
That's so crazy. Pop culture would never. There's an episode on that somewhere.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I also did some extra background research.
Isabel.
I went to my favorite compendium of logical fallacies and guide for navigating pseudoscience and fake news, which is the book by The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. So good. Highly recommend. And there's a quote in it that says, "Not only can we not change the universe just by wishing, doing so is actually counterproductive." So there have been studies that have found that it's actually had a negative effect.
Wishing?
Yeah.
No, I want to believe in wishing. I wish to believe in wishing.
Wishing / positive thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So one example is a study that found students who think about getting a good grade on an upcoming exam actually did worse than students who just imagined the process of taking the exam without thinking about it as having a positive or negative outcome.
Okay, I can kind of see that. So like you think you're going to get a good grade, so maybe you study less, maybe you worry less.
Exactly.
You don't have the extra drive or motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like reducing the action component, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, actions, I've heard they're necessary to like getting places.
So I think it's good to have positive thinking
Yeah.
plus action, though. You need to have the combination.
And that seems to be what the science is suggesting too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And imagining the process you need to go through to achieve a goal is useful.
Like imagining the steps.
Yeah, exactly. And I also wanted to throw in this really funny thing as well about pessimism.
Okay, let's go.
That pessimism correlates with higher earnings, fewer marital problems, more effective communication, greater generosity, and less overall disappointment.
Oh, I'm such an optimist though.
But please note, positivity is still good, just not when it's excessive. And so manifestation and wishing all the time is excessive positivity. I hate to be a downer, but
That is a bit of a bummer. I reckon we can bring it back though. When we first decided on this episode, Isabel and I watched this TED talk.
yes.
Kind of about wishing, kind of about goal achieving. And to be honest, we came out of it and we were both like a little bit like, whoa, because it'd been a big day. And
oh boy, had it been a big day.
it's been a big day. It's been a big year. Well done, everybody, for getting through the year.
Yeah.
Good job, listeners. And we kind of came to the end of it and we just sat there in silence for a few seconds. And I was like, is wishing just goal setting, but different terminology?
Yeah, we had a very interesting discussion about that.
And
actually.
I think not always, but I think it can be. And I think this TED Talk was trying to push us towards saying that you can achieve your wishes, your dreams, your hopes, blah, 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 by turning them into goals.
Yes.
So I think that is
which is similar to what I was saying, how you need to turn it into an action. It's like the next step.
Yeah. So this is all about how we achieve our goals. And there's this kind of category called implementation intentions, which is just a fancy way of saying, what is my intention for how I'm going to achieve this thing?
Yeah.
And that is shown to scientifically help you to do the thing you want to do because you're thinking about the next steps and the order of things to do. So I kind of came out of this thinking that achieving your goals is essentially achieving intentional wishes.
Yes.
Because we think often wishes are not like unconscious, but are often just kind of like, oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, see, it's the thing about, oh, I wish for this, and then you leave it.
Whereas a goal setting is being like, I want that. How do I get there?
Exactly.
Let's make it happen. I also really wanted to touch on quickly, but importantly, magical connotations of wishing.
Yeah.
Versus goal setting, which is more tonally formal and professional. And if you said to someone, oh, my goal next year is to release the 6th episode of our podcast versus I wish we could release the 6th episode of our podcast. One of them seems like you're putting in more effort, but they could be the same actionable path. But wishing,
depending on the person.
Yeah. Wishing is kind of more whimsical.
Yes.
And has those connotations associated with it, kind of like you're swayed by fancy. And I just wanted to talk about how the words we use impact how we frame it in our minds, but also how other people view us.
For sure. Oh, I'm going to be getting into this in my individual section a bit too.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on kind of the phrase "careful what you wish for." Like you haven't thought out all the bad things that could come along with this good thing you're wishing for. But I feel like we are never told to be careful what we set goals for. Yeah. Like in the same way, I think people are like, careful what you wish for if they don't think you've put enough thought into it. But if you said, oh, my goal is to be a billionaire, people are like, get your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter who you have to push down for you to come, rise up to be a billionaire. I don't know. I think words are so important.
100%.
Yeah. So I just want to conclude there by saying I think the difference between wishing and having a goal is the active part you play in it.
Yeah. So you could think of wishing as wanting something but just expecting it to happen without action, hoping it to come true through some kind of magical force, perhaps. And then a goal is more wanting something and taking the actionable steps to make it come true.
Yeah. So I guess if you, even if we want to take it kind of back to the first idea of how do we make a kind of festive podcast episode, is if on your wish list, or if what you're wishing for Christmas is, say, a really specific pen, steps you can take to make it actionable and to maybe achieving your goal is to tell someone about the really specific pen you want, or to send a picture of the pen you want to someone, or to even tell someone where to find the pen you want to get it. Like, or buy it for yourself and give it to a friend and be like, you can wrap this up for me if you want. I really want this pen. but only wishing for it and not doing anything about it is going to make it less likely to happen.
Yeah.
Because you're not helping it occur.
Well, then you're just manifesting.
Turn your wishing away from manifesting.
Turn it away from pseudoscience. Let's turn it
more into actionable goal settings, and then your wishes will come true.
Yeah.
More often. Asterisks. Then your wishes will come true, I hope. And that's on wishful thinking. And that's on wishes.
Yeah.
But you know what I wish for, Isabel?
What?
I wish for you to tell me about how you are linking this to your individual section on our podcast. And this is me taking actionable steps by asking you and holding you accountable as we're recording so I can find out, please. And thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I also want to dive more into language here.
Love.
I've been getting really into like the power of language and linguistics recently because I've been reading a book by a linguist, so I'm kind of in that mindset at the moment. And we've talked a lot about the role of psychology in all of this, and words also have a role.
Words are power.
Oh, for sure. Oh, there was a quote in a book that I read recently which was like, language is a leader's charisma. And I was like, yes, fact.
Stop it. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah, so I am totally fascinated by the power of language and linguistic choices in influencing our thinking and our behaviors. So using words like wish and magic and manifest, I think are more appealing to us than a word like goal, which perhaps sounds dry, and may have a bigger impact on our human psyche.
Yeah, I guess goal is really formal, business-like. It's something that you like expect to almost have like deliverables on.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes the fun out of it in a little bit.
Exactly. It's taking the fun, magical, festive aspects out of it.
Joy.
Yeah. And so I did a bit of background research into this, and words like wish and magic and manifest have religious origins and undertones. And according to a lot of linguists, religious language is the single most intensely performative speech, which means language doesn't just reflect reality, it actively creates it.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. Language creates reality. Here we go. I'm here for this. I want to go on a journey.
Yeah. So this kind of magical, wishful language makes the supernatural or magical seem possible or even feel real. And I think that's part of the reason why it's so popular.
I love this. I love this so much. As someone with like an English background who, you know, anyone like can read a book, and we all kind of, especially in the Australian system, secondary education system, have to do an English subject where we read and have to take it apart. There is a reason why I chose to also study this at university level, because I think language and words have so much to give to us that we take for granted all the time. And
Sure.
I love that line about language not reflecting reality but creating it.
Yeah.
And there's this like certain line of thought that is, we can only live in a world that we can describe, or we can only experience a world that we can describe. So like until there is language to describe it, how can I communicate my experience of the world with you? And if you have never had that experience on your own, maybe you will never have it until I have a word or a phrase or enough synonyms and they give a connotation that you can kind of understand what I'm describing.
Yeah.
Language is so powerful. I'm so excited. I feel, okay, the same type of joy you get from maybe you're at a Christmas market. It's 4 days till Christmas. The twinkling lights are catching your eye. You're surrounded with the people that you love. You're feeling free. You have no work for like maybe a full week. You're excited. You're light. You're bubbly. It's warm. It's summer. And you can just feel the happiness kind of like taking over you.
Is this manifesting right here, Ella?
No, this is just a feeling of joy. And sometimes I get it because it's Christmas, and sometimes I get it because people are talking to me about language. And I'm having it right now.
Yeah.
I'm just really excited.
I love language.
I feel like I got a twinkle in my eye.
Oh, I'm glad I could give you a twinkle in your eye.
Thanks, Isabel.
So tell me, how are you going to relate wishing to X-Men?
Don't worry, Isabel. For you and all my other avid X-Men fans out here, congratulations, you're now an avid X-Men fan. You're welcome. I'm going to give you a twinkle in your eye by talking about my favorite character, Professor Charles Xavier. And I want to relate wishing and kind of the more manifesting side of it, the wishful thinking, the, kind of non-actionable side, to his mutation, which we can read as a superpower, which is telepathy. And I want to talk about how this is kind of the making real of the non-real. So like I said in that earlier example of, if you really want this pen for Christmas, you have to do something about it to get the pen.
Yeah.
I think what is so fantastical about telepathy as a superpower, as a mutation for Charles Xavier, and for it's in kind of other comic books, it's kind of one of the more popular superpowers, up there with like flying and being really strong or running really fast. Telepathy is one of the more common ones. Is that it is so wishful thinking, because if I can read your mind, I can pluck that you want that pen out of your mind, and I can make it happen for you. In the same way that I could maybe be a mind reader and really want this pen and put the image of the pen in your mind with images suggesting that I'd want it. I think his power, not often explicitly used for this, I think it is generally and more generally, we like it and we fantasize about it because it allows us to kind of live in that fantasy about manifesting and about things being real that we don't action.
Yeah. Oh, I think you did give me a twinkle in my eye.
Yay. Okay. Life goal achieved. Yeah, I think there is a lot more that could be said there, but maybe I'll save that for a future individual section, because listeners, this is episode number 5, and finding 5 different ways to talk about X-Men, not the easiest thing, not the most difficult, but I do need to keep some up my sleeve. So maybe you'll just have to keep listening to our podcast.
I think you will.
I absolutely think you will. And yeah, let's wrap it up here, because I really want to take a moment, Isabel, and I know you do too, to thank everyone for listening to our podcast. We have been releasing for 6 months now, because our trailer episode came out a month before, and this is episode 5.
Oh my gosh.
So it's half a year, it's 6 months of Cyber's podcast.
Wow. Oh my God. We should have brought some cake to Oh, maybe that's something we need to do afterwards.
But we just want to thank, we definitely want to thank you, our beautiful listeners. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging, for commenting on our Instagram, for sending us messages, telling us how much you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We've loved making this year.
This has been so much fun. And we had a discussion on the drive on the way here, and Ella was like to me, you know, I think this podcast is the thing I am most proud of this year. And I was like, me too, Ella.
It's so cool. It's, you know, actually doing science communication.
Yeah.
In a really fun way, in a way that interacts with people that aren't just in our little science communication bubble. It's really cool. I'm so happy we get to share it with you.
I know our audience is growing to like comic artists.
Oh, it's so exciting. And we just wanted to say thank you for a beautiful year. We are so excited to make more podcasts for you and share more of our beautiful thoughts and themes and popular culture, discussions of science and all of the rest of this with you.
Yay.
Next year, in the new year, in 2023. 2023, Cyberse is coming back. Don't worry, every month, one episode, we're coming for you. And we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Joyous, happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Lots of beautiful festivities, no matter what you're celebrating. I hope you take some time for you, for your family, to engage with some popular culture.
Maybe some science.
Maybe some science on the side, on the down low, if you're feeling it. And I want to encourage you all to answer our questions.
And let's bring it back to wishes one final time.
One final time. What a good theme.
So where else has wishing and wishful thinking come up in pop culture for you?
Let us know, because, you know, the more we think about it, the more examples we find. But I'm sure there are so many we've missed.
Oh my gosh, for sure. And what about New Year's resolutions?
Ooh.
Do you have any? And are they going to change after listening to this podcast episode?
Are they going to become less like New Year's resolution wishes and more like New Year resolutions
Goals?
Yeah, are you keeping it fanciful? Are you keeping it actionable? Let us know. We want to know.
Yeah. And if they're science related too,
Definitely let us know.
let us know. So stay nerdy, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next year.
Thank you to ANU CPAS for their support and access to their podcast studio.